Hello Billings, and welcome back to another edition of the Billings Beat. I'm your host, local realtor, and founder of ELEPHAS Real Estate Group, Neil Beyer. I'm here today speaking with Kate Rossetto. Kate is the owner of Lady Kate's Garden, situated on 1 1/3 acre in Billings Heights, where she has an organic vegetable, herb, and flower farm. Kate, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me, Neil.
I'm so happy to be here. It is a beautiful, beautiful spot. Your garden is phenomenal and your backyard is beautiful.
Thank you.
Can you briefly introduce Lady Kate's Garden?
Oh, that's really just briefly?
You have as much time as you want.
Yeah. Well, when I bought this place in 1998, and it was just bare ground, old rental property, and I've always been a gardener, and so I wanted to start growing and putting in trees and stuff. So it was a slow process, and it wasn't my intention to actually sell produce, but there was a need in the community, and I was approached by Jeannie Charter from the Charter Ranch. She's no longer with us, unfortunately, but she wanted me to start bringing some produce down to the farmers market to raise awareness. They grow at the ranch grass-fed beef.
Still do.
And still do, and they were the original starters of Northern Plains Resource Council and Yellowstone Valley Citizens Council. And so I started working with Jeannie, and every year I'd be getting, she'd want more and more, and then she finally talked me into doing a CSA. So I did that for a few years. And
for those who don't know, what's a CSA?
CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and it's where people prepay for the season. Our season here is typically 16 weeks, and every week they come out and they pick up a bushel basket, a box full of produce. And they don't order specific things, you get what the garden produces. And I did that for about 6 years and didn't have the volume that I really needed for the amount of work.
Right.
So then I started focusing on restaurants and just local, trying to raise awareness here, have people come to the garden, do those kinds of things. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I sell my produce here every Thursday night at my farm stand from 4 to 6. I sell through the Yellowstone Valley Food Hub. I sell to local restaurants, Giuliano's, the Highlands, the Field House in particular are 3 of my really good customers. And I'm always looking for new opportunities so that I can share my food and share my energy and share my knowledge and let the people here in our community know that this is a viable source for good, viable, juicy fruit. Yeah.
And 100% organic.
It is. I'm not certified, so I can't really say certified organic, but I call it just chemical free. I don't use any chemicals, never have.
So technically, because you're not certified, can you use the organic name or no?
Wow. I can't.
Wow.
They don't let me.
Wow. So
I have to be really careful. I mean, I always encourage people to come to the garden. They're going to see weeds and bugs and all kinds of stuff.
And people are welcome to visit, right?
Anytime. Yeah, they just have to let me know when they want to come. I'm usually here.
Yeah. And I encourage you to do so. I mean, and family, bring the kids down.
Oh, heck, the
have
kids
a tour.
love it. The kids just run around and they see stuff that needs to be picked, and they see the raspberries, and there's plenty of room to run and roughhouse, and yeah, it's a great place for kids.
And what do you have on a yearly basis? I mean, do you have certain crops, certain vegetables that you have every year? Does it depend on the climate for that year?
It's always different every year. I always try to plant basically what most people want. However, I do specialize in what I call niche crops because I'm dealing with chefs.
Right.
And I always tend to plant heirloom, the old heirloom plants, which I feel have been around for generations. They have more flavor. They haven't been hybridized or manipulated like a lot of our foods have.
So does heirloom mean that it hasn't been hybridized? It hasn't been mixed together with another? Okay.
They're the old seeds that they keep pure.
Just like OG.
Yeah. They're just what they were
Wow.
years ago.
Okay.
So my tomatoes and my peppers and my zucchinis and all of those tend to be heirlooms. And that's what I prefer to grow. They have more flavor. Sometimes they're a little harder to grow because they're more susceptible to disease and bugs and all that.
Right.
But the flavor is so much better. It's incomparable.
Right.
You know, you can't compare it to anything. And so, you know, most of the time after all these years of growing, which 20 years I've been doing this, I kind of have developed a feeling for what vegetables sell well in this area.
Right.
And I always try to plant new things every year just so I kind of get a feel for whether they're going to be viable here,
Right.
if there's a market for them.
Experiment a little
Plus,
bit.
I want to know, you know, I'm a cook, so I love to cook. So I want new things to introduce in my own cooking.
Right.
So it's kind of fun.
Do you ever sell your cooking? Because I imagine I imagine you're a phenomenal cook.
I am
you
a
have
good cook.
amazing ingredients available to you.
Well, I post recipes every week on my Facebook page.
Okay.
I do a newsletter every week with my price list, and you can pre-order. You can come and pick up your order here, or I'll deliver for a fee if you want. And I have people now wanting just a box every week, like a $30 box or a
Right.
$40 box. And some of them choose just to order a box because they don't want to be bothered with messing
Picking and
around.
choosing.
Yeah, so I just give them what looks really good.
Give us
and-
what's best.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I try to stick things in there that maybe they've never had before.
Right, right. A little surprise.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to get in contact with you or get on the mailing list or, you know, get involved with this box once a week?
Once a week.
Once a week? How can
Yeah.
they do that?
Well, I have a website. It's www.ladykatesgarden.com. You can sign up to receive my newsletter, and I send it out every Monday. So you can pre-order, come by, you know what I've got, what the price is, so there's no surprises. And then I don't do the farmers market, but I am going to do the Red Lodge market and see how that goes. I sell through the Yellowstone Valley Food Hub. I sell to local restaurants, like I said, and so I'm trying always to develop more clientele so I can continue to do my work, because
And-
this is what I was meant to do.
And then Thursdays, you said, Thursday evenings at
Thursdays from 4 to 6.
4 to 6, people can just roll by
Yeah.
and stop by
Yeah.
and look at your garden and
Yeah.
find out what's fresh and available and
Yeah.
pick some things up.
We have fun here.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
they can ask questions, and I know how to cook, so I can encourage them with nudging them towards fixing it this way or this way.
Right, right.
It's fun.
And you're fun. You're a fun person to hang out with.
I try to.
Yeah. And you have a new doggie.
I do.
What's his name again? I forgot.
Bosco.
Bosco. And Bosco's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Cute dog.
Yeah.
So what drives and motivates you?
I have a passion for sharing knowledge with my community and building community. It's just something that's innate in who I am. It's about being with people, having conversations, learning who people are, what their thoughts are, what their gifts are, so that we can all share. Building a sustainable community has always been really important to me.
That's outstanding.
And I originally came from Red Lodge. Red Lodge was a small town when I was up there, and my grandfathers were miners up there, and that's how we were. They had the bakery and the cheese shop and the meat shop and the small little grocery store, and everyone knew each other and shared information, and that's what I've been trying to do here, and it's really important. The other part of my passion is making sure that we're bringing our earth back into balance. So thus my use of no-tilling, sustainable growing, what we call regenerative agriculture, using rotating your crops every year, bringing in mulches and grasses and ground covers and things that help to build strong, viable soil so that we can increase the nutrition value of our food that we grow. And I'm not I'm not using any inputs that are going to be detrimental to the soil.
And what inputs would those be? Fertilizer's okay. Or do you use your own fertilizer?
I make my own compost, but I don't make enough.
Right.
Because I'm getting too old to turn those doggone piles. So I do buy compost, a lot of compost. I use grass clippings. I use, in the fall, I go around the neighborhood and pick up those bags of leaves that everyone's throwing out. And I throw that on. And I use, some organic inputs like alfalfa pellets, corn gluten meal, fish feather meal, all of those kinds of natural additives that increase nitrogen in your soil. I put a lot of sulfur in my soil, which helps bring up, it helps break down our hard compacted soil that we have.
Right.
And it also raises the acidity in our soil because we have really high alkaline soil.
Right.
So we want to make it more balanced, and you do that by adding sulfur. And so there's a lot of those kinds of things that I do.
Is there anything, and you may have mentioned, you've actually mentioned several things already, but anything that people may be surprised to learn about Lady Kate's garden?
Well, I grow a lot of medicinal herbs here. And so I make a lot of herbal extracts that I take for myself, for my own health, like hyssop and mullein and valerian root and chamomile and calendula, lavender. I grow tons of lavender. I make beauty care products, so I don't buy stuff at the store.
For yourself?
For myself. I make tooth powder, I make deodorant, I make skincare products.
That's incredible.
Lotion. Everything's made here, grows here, but I still have to buy beeswax and things like that.
Right, certain ingredients and stuff.
Yeah, so I consider myself an old-time hippie alchemist is what I am.
That's incredible. And you mentioned earlier that you try as much as you can to get everything from the source versus from big box stores or supermarkets.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be quite a task in and of itself.
Well, it can. It's easy for me to, because I grow so many vegetables, I preserve everything.
Right.
I'm either freezing, dehydrating, canning, or doing whatever so that I have food. I support all the local protein growers, so I don't go to the grocery store and buy meat, for instance. I have friends that have eggs, chickens, so I get eggs from my friends, and we trade. I believe in trading.
Right.
I think trading is a great way. That's the way the old timers survived. And so I don't go to a grocery store very often. I buy cheese and cream and butter at the grocery store. But other than that, I really try to produce what I need to for my own survival. I call it self-surviving skills. And it's really benefited my life, and it gives me a lot of joy.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
really does. Yeah.
And to segue into that, you obviously feel that it is extremely important to shop local.
Oh, definitely.
Why do you think that way? I mean,
Well,
what are the benefits?
Well, why be here if you don't learn your neighbors and who's doing what and what services they provide?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're constantly ordering off of Amazon, for instance, I mean, how do you know where that product came from, and who is that product supporting? Is it supporting a small family?
Right.
Or is it supporting some big conglomeration? Is it coming from China? Where's it coming from?
It takes the relationship out of
Well,
that.
it does. I like to know. The reason why I like people to come here is we can have a conversation.
Right.
And I have a website, and people can order off my website. But I always tell people, I'm really lazy when it comes to websites. I don't have time for that. But what's nice is people can call me on the phone and say, "Hey, what do you have?"
Right.
We can have a conversation.
Right.
I can find out a little bit
Your customers
about
are your
it.
friends.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's how we build a really strong community, because when things get challenging, we know who we can depend on within our community.
And we're all we really have,
Yeah.
right? I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Support each other, help each other grow,
a lot
develop.
of people feel so isolated, and we don't have to feel isolated.
Right.
We all have neighbors all around us, but we don't even know who they are.
Right.
So
It's unfortunate. So
I tell people to get off their butts and start walking around your neighborhood
go
and
talk to your
introduce
neighbors,
yourself.
shop local,
Yeah.
buy from local
Yeah.
vendors and business people, get to know them. Yeah,
Go to
absolutely.
local restaurants. Don't go to the big restaurants. They're not supporting local farmers and
Right.
ranchers. They're bringing all that stuff in from God only knows where.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
What challenges do you have?
Oh my God, being alive. Being alive is a challenge. I think the challenge is to always stay in gratitude for, that's how I get through the day and the challenges, is that I have to really feel blessed that I have what I have. And I don't know anyone that hasn't gone through struggles in their life, or maybe are going through struggles now. It's been a really challenging couple of years.
Bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, and I don't see that changing for a while. So another reason why you really need to get out there and start supporting your local businesses and make friends with your neighbors, because we're all going to need to depend on one another in one way or another. And just having a smile on your face and welcoming to people when you meet them on the street, smile and say hi. I think those little small gestures, not only do they benefit someone else's life, but more importantly, it benefits you.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And, we've gone through challenging times. Is your garden as a business, is it still being challenged? Where do you see yourself in a year or 2 years?
I'd like to say that I was still here and thriving and busy and all that, but I have an age problem. I'm getting older, and it's more and more challenging to find help. And if this garden is going to continue to be able to survive and provide the community, I need to have help, and I have to have people that are interested in maybe learning how to farm, for instance, or come and help on the garden, in the gardens, or even maybe be interested in taking it over at some day, because it could be a little gem, and is a little gem right in the middle of the city limits.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's perfect location. I feel really, really blessed to be here.
Yeah, beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
Outstanding backyard. I
Yeah.
mean, this is a backyard that I can tell you put so much time and labor into, and it is very comfortable, and just a place that you can sit and relax and enjoy
Yeah.
yourself when you're not in the garden, I guess, right?
Well, there's no sitting and relaxing here, because the minute I sit down with a cocktail at night, I see a tree that needs to be
pruned.
or I see a weed that needs to come out, and so give that.
But then you can walk over there with your cocktail, right?
Oh yeah.
Clippers in one hand, cocktail in the other.
Yeah. And then I'll lose my cocktail because I move on somewhere else.
But it is a labor of love.
It is.
I mean, you say that you find something that needs to be done, but the reason you're so apt and willing to do that is because it is your passion. That
Well,
you
it
enjoy
gives
so
me
much.
joy.
Yeah.
It has a place. It gives me a place in life, in this space. We're all taking up space, so why not be happy in the space that you're in? And so creating your space is what has given me joy.
And I think gardening as well. I think there's something therapeutic, not just for you, but for everyone. I, for myself, I don't claim to be a regular gardener, but when I go out and just water the plants, there's something calming and therapeutic about that, I find. That's enjoyable.
We're connected to everything.
Yeah.
We're all energetic beings. Our
Right.
trees, our flowers, our vegetables, we're all energy, and we're sharing that
Right.
amongst everything that is on this earth. And so, digging in the dirt is the most therapeutic thing that you can do.
Right, I
Really.
agree.
Yeah.
And not just for those who are passionate about gardening, I think for anyone.
For anyone.
And unfortunately, it's something that is not being done as often as it was. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if most kids these days haven't planted a seed.
No. And that's what's unfortunate, is that that people have lost the art of living self-sufficiently. And I realize that people have to work to create an income to support their families, but a small thing like putting in your garden is so beneficial in so many ways. Not only are you providing yourself with food, you're educating your children, you're educating your neighbors, you're putting good juju out in the air, basically. You're honoring the earth and helping the earth rebuild itself because it's hurting too. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. And the lessons I think it teaches kids.
Oh, it's
I
amazing.
mean, so many.
It's amazing. When kids come here and they start running around and they see all these vegetables and I tell them to go pick strawberries or raspberries, they're just like in hog heaven.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, Kate, is there anything else you want to add? You want to tell the people?
Well, I want them to come and see me. Come visit the garden.
Come visit. It is a beautiful garden. She's doing extraordinary things for the community. She has so many options. You didn't really tell us what is your big crop this season. Is there one or two or three that people can expect to see if they come here?
Well,
Maybe more?
You know, my big sellers have always been peppers and tomatoes.
The peppers are like this big.
That's an exaggeration.
They're big.
The tomatoes aren't doing really well this year. There's a lot of them out there and there's a lot of fruit, but the heat has really been very challenging this year. But my beans are going off, and the bean crop has been always a big seller for me because no one wants to grow beans because they're the pain in the you know what to harvest. They're labor intensive and they tend to be more expensive because I have to pay someone and myself to harvest them. But those beans are incredible. They're the French haricot vert. They're the skinny, long, skinny ones, and they're purple, yellow, and green.
Beautiful.
So they're beautiful. Eggplants are coming. I sell a lot of eggplant. So those are pretty, and herbs. I grow a lot of basil and specialty basils and herbs.
So get down here, check it out, support Kate's garden because she's doing wonderful things. And even if you just come through for a tour, I know that my family loves gardening, so I'm going to bring my kids and my wife here to check it out.
That'd be great.
And I think if you have any interest in helping or learning or supporting her with her garden, you know, I think that you're open to hear from individuals who might have a passion or share a passion like yours.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Kate, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Billings, until next time, cheers. We'll see you later.